Welcome to Winning in the Margins with Jeff and Jamion. We're going to talk about inspiring belief today. Coach Jamion's been diving in to belief. Excited to open this topic up. Coach Jamion, tell us what you think about belief and where there's
Well, it's great. It's great to see you, number one. And, it's crazy, this thing with the belief. You and I have walked into a lot of situations where the team might not have been performing at the highest level. We've got an opportunity to come in and to work with teams that were underperforming. And I always say the first thing you got to do is you've got to inspire belief. When they walk in the meeting space, when they walk in the practice floor, they've got to believe that their ability is good enough, that their intellect is good enough, and most importantly, that their hard work is good enough. So Jeff, when we talk about inspiring belief and you walk into the doors of people, it's really important to be able to kind of figure out what's most important to them. I think that's the first key step, is getting to know who they are. And so I kind of built this like simple 4-step process that I try to use when I'm walking in a door to try to bring in some belief. Number one, I want to connect them to their why. I want them to understand why they began. So many times you kind of start working on this journey of life and you forget why you started doing what you started doing at the very beginning. You and I work in jobs and opportunities of passion. So realizing how much you love it, I think, is very, very important. Number two, when we're having this conversation, these first of many conversations that you're going to have, I do think when you walk into an organization, it's important to get to know the people. It's important to know why they're doing it, what the things they love, what things they hate, but try to really get to know the people. And so, I try to help them remove words like talent or potential. A lot of you walk in these teams, I've got Division I coach for 10 years. You'd be amazed at how many teams were right on the cusp of being great that might have only won 5 or 6 games. Usually talent isn't the issue. There's something else that's going on. What I found is, work with athletes, that these words imprison them. I have so much potential. People have been telling them they have potential since they were 12 years old. I always joke with them, I don't know what potential is. I don't know what that is. You're either realizing and becoming all the things you can be, or you're not. And so I do think that's helped people be able to not imprison themselves and allow them to believe in something more than just their talents or their potential. Number three, I think building a plan that we're going to follow together, which includes embracing the challenges ahead. I think this is an important step. Successful people plan not just for the successes, but for the failures that could happen down the road. I know you've probably met some people that have deep belief, and as soon as something happens, they drop all their belief, right? They're, I can't believe this happened to me again. Well, how much did you really believe? So we want to sit down and we want to build a plan that, hey, this could happen and these things could also happen. But I do think an important piece of that is we're building this plan together, and we're going to be able to work on it together, and we're going to hold each other accountable. You're not in this on your own. Anytime you're a leader, it's not really about you, it's about everyone else. So being able to build this plan out, you'd be amazed at how many athletes I've had in my office that didn't have one head coach that built a plan out with them on how they could be successful. It's more than just making outside shots or making 1,000 shots in practice. It's about preparing them mentally and physically for when things go really wrong and how we can help them build through that. And I do believe that you build a level of belief when tragedy happens and they have a great response to it. When they have a great response to it, you have a chance to be really good. And I would say the plan usually includes words or phrases of affirmations, a path to handling anxiety or pressure, and scheduled check-ins to follow up to make sure that, I'm not letting this, usually someone that's in a struggle with something, they don't correct it in a week. So I would say we build this great plan out. We're going to work on it. How many people have had this happen? You sit down with someone, they give you a great plan, and they never check on it. 3 months, you have the same issues, the same problems going on. I never want to be that leader. I never want to be that person. So we didn't schedule a checkup. Usually we give about a week on the first 2 or 3 check-ins, and then we start to expand it out if they're having more success with it. But along the way, we're still working on these words of affirmations and really checking in on things that they're struggling with. So I think when you're talking about inspiring belief, I think building a system in place to help people inspire belief and help people understand the importance of it, I do think is really important. but let's make sure we're bringing them into that process. I don't want to be the preacher on the pulpit just preaching. It's about bringing them in. We're working at this together, hand in hand.
And I think in order to inspire belief, we have to help folks understand belief. Belief is a faith, and it looks unknown until you get what it's all about. But at the end of the day, this is the piece that people need to understand. We're believing in something. Have you ever heard this? If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. You ever heard that?
Absolutely.
I'm believing something all the time. I'm believing I'm meant to be on the team. I'm believing I'm a champion. I'm believing that I'm going to go down this path and then something's going to knock me off, so it's not worth trying. I'm believing that I'm incapable of going to the next level, and so I'm not going to play this year either. And so we talk belief, and a couple months ago, somebody told me, they said, "You remind me a lot of Deion Sanders." And I watched Deion. I watched Deion when he was a player, prime time, but I hadn't seen him coaching till a couple months ago. And so since then, started watching some of the YouTube stuff, and that's a guy that believes. That's a guy that believes that his team can. That's a guy that believes he can. That's a guy that believes in making progress. That's a guy that believes you're meant to be everything you were born to be. But let's not make the mistake. You can believe something altogether different. So we can jump on the Jackson State, and believe's a word been using for years, probably very much like Deion. Believe, believe, believe. And it just the last couple of years came to my thought process that, you know what? I need to make sure people understand that they're believing something. And I can either believe that I'm not worth it, that I'm incapable, that it's the next town over, the next team over, it's the ball player to my left or right, or it's the team I'm on. It's the player to my left and right. It's the exact group that we have, that we're meant to cultivate a championship culture and guide them to run through a brick wall. Now, once we understand that you're believing something, then you can start to understand belief a little bit, because you're bought into what you believe in, whether you're using the word or not. And when we start to believe that we're capable, that we're special, the coach starts to forget about who he wished he had from across town, who he wished he had from across the nation, what college coach, what recruit he missed, and we just start cultivating a champion culture. To believe is to know. To know is to have hope. To have hope is to find the adjustment. To find the adjustment is to put that action step in place. Man, if you do, you mentioned you were heading down to Boston to hang with the Celtics for a couple days. Celtics have been my team. I love the Celtics, man. When you go back to Kevin Garnett, you go back to it's Ray Allen, right? Yep. Ray Allen, love Ray Allen. Before the game ever started, I could be wrong in this number because it's been a while since I've studied him. But why is he lights out at that 3-point line? Well, 500 to 1,000 shots before the game even starts. You're on fire. Why? Because he believed. And so he did what he needed to do to sink 2 out of 5, 3 out of 7, 4 out of 9 from 3-point land. You take that into college nation, your next school, wherever you are. We can have that mindset. No matter what group of characters we take, they can take whatever they have to a whole nother level. Does it mean we're going to win a national championship that year? I don't know, because I don't know the squad we're talking about. But I know it will level us the heck up if we start doing what we're capable of doing. That will take us to another place. So it's just a matter of what we believe.
Yeah, that's excellently put. You're believing something. You're believing it. You're believing in something. I love that there's no gray area. You're believing in this or you're believing in that, and that's it. And it doesn't work great in our politics, but it works great in personal human development.
It does.
Because, like we always talk about, the brain's going to want to take the middle road, but in achievement and performance, it's one way or the other. you're either going to be great or you're not going to be good enough. And so learning how to be great and what your body needs to be great, really, really valuable, really important.
Yeah, it was gray for me for a long time in how to describe belief. So I'm like, you got to believe. You got to believe. And, I've talked with you about a few teams we were a part of that belief was inspired, and the crew that was a part of the team started to believe. But I don't know that they knew they were believing, but we started to believe like crazy. And so we can inspire belief, but what happens when that atmosphere leaves? Who are you then? Well, I didn't always know how to talk about belief in that simple of a way. You're believing in something. Either you believe you can or you can't. Either you believe we will or we won't. We're absolutely believing in something, and it's that simple.
I love it. Well, Jeff, I enjoyed our time. I think we've inspired some belief out there, and hopefully people will enjoy this episode. Like, share, and interact. We'll see you soon.